Hello, everybody. I am here with Alex Stein, and Alex and I met through actually a another Forged Youth guest that was on the show. So if you've listened to the Rourkes talking about what it's like to be the parent of an Olympic athlete, then you now know the connection between Alex and I.
Yeah.
Alex, you have quite the extensive coaching history. You have coached in like 8 different countries, and like give us a little synopsis of who you are and what that looked like.
Thanks. And thanks for having me here today. And a shout out to the Rourkes who did connect us and much appreciated the connection. Well, I've been coaching professional ice hockey. Well, I did coach professional ice hockey for over 25 years in 8 different countries. I started actually at high school level as an assistant coach while I was in law school, and I left law school. And I returned to Toronto, where I'm from, and I started to coach there through hockey camps in the University of Toronto as an assistant. And I branched out. I decided I wanted to try the US pro way, the US college way. Couldn't get a break. And I went over to Europe and started my career there and never looked back. And so 25 incredible years of coaching the highest level, also Olympic athletes, as well as running youth camps in the summer, women's camp. For example, I said to you on Wednesday, I'm heading off to a women's camp in Switzerland.
Yeah,
And that's kind of the tail end of my career, though, from a hockey coaching perspective. And the journey's landed me here in France with my family, with my feet planted for the first time in over 2 decades.
that must feel nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm an expert at IKEA and assembling IKEA furniture and moving, so
I
um,
bet
it,
you are. Oh my
it's
gosh.
nice to not move for the first time in a while.
That's a good skill to have, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that much experience with working hands-on so closely with these athletes, what would you say are maybe like the top three components that really separate an athlete from being like an elite athlete?
In my experience, not just as a coach, but as an athlete myself, not a high level, high performance athlete, but as an athlete, I learned over time that mindset, in mindset, I define simply the way we think. It's the way we think. I think that the mindset that we develop, which has to do with our upbringing, our past, our peer group, our entire life journey, which for a young athlete isn't long, can be the difference of making the step to the next level or not, or to the highest levels. Inside of that mindset, I put habit creation. So to
Mm,
have good habits, living intentionally with your purpose too. So every single thing that you do is directed towards where you want to go.
mm,
And the last thing is resilience. And resilience is something that only adversity can teach. Um, it's just how we manage the challenges in front of us. So between our habits, our purpose, well, you could say our purpose first, and then our habit creation around the purpose, and then
yeah.
the resilience of overcoming the obstacles becomes your mindset. And when you start to believe that every challenge is an opportunity to learn,
Yeah.
every time you lose a game, it's a learning moment. Every time you make a bad play, it's an opportunity to grow and to learn. That's very, very hard for young athletes. But
Yeah.
if you can develop that, it's a superpower.
I love that all of those really intertwine with each other. Like the mindset, the commitment to habits, the seeing failure as feedback, all that kind of stuff, it's all has to do with mindset. And so then how do we or how do the youth athletes who are listening to this, what is like what's step one to moving towards being an athlete who has a strong mindset?
The first question I want to ask is okay, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
If you're a hockey player, do you want to go to the NHL? If you're a basketball player, do you want to go to the NBA? Do you just want to play college? Do you want to play university? Do you want to try for a scholarship? Even younger than that, do you want to play AAA? What do you want to do? Do you want to be drafted? Do you want to go the Canadian Hockey League route, the NCAA route? Having a clear direction, but not defined in stone. You have to be a little bit flexible because we have injuries, we have bad decisions along the way, we have difficult seasons. To find your purpose, you have to know where you're going to go. So the first question I'd ask myself is, where do I want to go? That's step one. After that, every single thing that I do every single day is towards that purpose.
Right.
And I'll give you a great example. It was from the movie with Tom Cruise, The Last Samurai. And
Good
just in
movie.
that one segment where they're talking about the samurai way, and it was that every single day they perfected their craft. And that doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you're perfecting your craft. It means you're working on purposefully every day achieving your goals. And your goals are taking you to where you want to go. And
Hmm.
that means now I'm going full circle, becoming who you want to be now.
Mm.
And that's a tough stretch.
Deep. And you know what's interesting too is that about this right away dives into the topic of having those outcome goals versus process goals and what the difference is between them and the importance of each of them is, right? Because how I'm hearing it is where are you going to go? Okay, so that's kind of like an outcome goal. It becomes your lighthouse, your direction. But then your second point was, okay, now every day, every step, process goals. What are you doing right now to get you a step closer to the direction you want to go? Out, how do I find that athletes struggle with being so fixated on the outcome goal that they put tons of pressure on themselves and they almost forget about or don't focus on process goals. Do you find that as well? And
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
how do we work with them through that?
For the younger athletes, it's very hard. Um, I know in North America, it's a little bit different. In North America, there's so many games. Okay. Well, who are the games for? Who
Mm,
are the games for? Well, the games are really for the parents to watch and to learn compete. Games are important, okay? But it's like the exam. If you had an exam every single week throughout the entire school year, like I mean a really hard exam, it's you don't learn the material. Over
mm,
in Europe, we tend to have a higher practice to game ratio, so we have more practices, less games.
okay.
And there's a sweet spot in the games. And now you've got kids flying across the country, playing on different travel teams and all of that to get game experience. But I'm using hockey as the example. How often do you touch the puck in a game? It's minimal.
Mm,
And so in practice, that's where you learn. So practice gets you back to the fundamentals of your process. The players that separate themselves are the ones that practice intentionally. So for a young player, if I'm trying to develop my mindset, I love playing in games. I love winning. I love scoring goals. I love success. If I'm a gymnast, I love trying to get that perfect score. We're very result focused, but if we're outcome focused, we lose our process, the journey that takes you there to get you the results you want. And ultimately, if you can, I've used this language often with my clients, and it's relentlessly execute the fundamentals.
mm, yeah.
As a coach who coached his way up to levels where he had no business being, that was me. I'm not an ex-player. I didn't have a pro career. I engineered my career by relentlessly executing hard work and the fundamentals and learning, 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 constantly being open to feedback. And when you get criticism, okay, it hurts, but there's something in there maybe you can take from it and you take from it, not what the
Hmm.
other person thinks, what you take from it. And I apply that into my next part of my process. And so if I'm an athlete And I can learn to enjoy practicing because I'm perfecting my craft. I'm getting better. I'm not just going through the motions to try to get in the lineup to get in the game. I'm
Hmm.
actually really working on something intentionally. Every time I take a stride, I'm working on my skating. Every time I have the puck, I'm working on my puck handling, my shooting, my passing. Every time I'm in the gym, I'm working on my body. And that's the intention of the process. And when you stay focused on your process, I promise you the outcome will happen.
And what I really believe too is that by continually doing that, you're continually showing up for yourself and doing the hard thing and the monotonous thing and the grind and all that kind of stuff. And by doing that, you are building confidence in yourself. And so that when competition comes around, all of a sudden you're able to switch into that trusting mindset and trust yourself and have confidence in yourself that you've put in the intentional work, you've put in the time, and now it's time to just be in that. How do you, yeah.
We had this talk about confidence because for me, confidence, I've learned. A lot of people think that confidence is a feeling. Okay.
Mm,
And I'm saying that confidence can be created
mm,
and that you can create confidence like that. A person can create confidence by relentless execution of the fundamentals in practice. So when they're under pressure in games, they know that they're able to handle the situation. And you gain that feeling of, I can handle this. No matter what comes at me, I'm going to figure it out. And if I make a mistake, I'm going to grow from it. And so when you combine that, and this all takes self-discipline too. We can go there after.
yes.
But one of
Yeah.
my clients had a great quote last week. And after we've worked together for a long time, and he said to me, I recognize that self-discipline is the greatest gift you can give yourself.
Oh, yeah. That's
Okay.
good.
And it was about executing the habits, executing the fundamentals regularly, relentlessly, that you're constantly building that foundation. And when you get into game situations, if you've been going through the motions in practice, then you're gonna have pressure situation. And so when you have pressure situations, if you're not prepared for it, that's when you have troubles.
Mm-hmm.
When you've prepared for something properly, you don't have pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
from
that's,
that comes confidence. From that comes confidence that you
yeah.
can
And that's like,
focus.
exactly, like the focus and the preparation, like those are things that are within our control too, right? Like at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, the outcome isn't actually in our control, but everything that we can do leading up to that point, ourselves, focus, attitude, self-talk, preparation, yeah, yeah. I love talking
Well, that's what I've learned, and me too with you.
to
The coach that I studied under is named Brian Kane, and he's an incredible coach, and he's codified this really well. And I've taken a lot of his materials and worked with them, and he's broken confidence into three elements, and that's focus, body language, and self-talk.
you.
Now, each athlete is going to have
Mm.
different level of importance to each category. In my life, in my career, what I've always done under pressure is I focused.
Mm.
I get right into a place where I'm controlling what I can control. So I was the guy that I wanted to take the fifth penalty shot in soccer. I wanted the pressure situations. I wanted the face off. I wanted to block the shot at the last second.
Yeah,
And I wanted the pressure. It didn't mean I always had success. And when I didn't have success and I had asked for the pressure, it was horrible.
yeah,
And I remember hitting the post in under 14 soccer at the fifth shot, and we lost the championship. And in under 16, I had that same shot to get us to the finals, and I nailed it. So there was a
yes,
development even at a young age. So athletes, you
yeah.
can develop this.
Hmm.
If you're not worried about whether you're gonna, all you're thinking about is putting the ball or the puck into the goal. You're worried about scoring. In soccer, I had great confidence because I saw the net. I was a goal scorer. In hockey, I thought those goalies, I would see the goalie, not the net. So you see the difference in the thinking, the mindset in one person can be different in different situations. And so
Yes.
confidence comes from focusing, telling yourself you can handle it, Okay, I
Yeah.
can handle this. No matter what comes at me, I'm going to figure it out. I may not get it right, but I'll get it right sooner or later.
Yeah.
And then the body language tends to follow. Other people, they need to talk to themselves first to focus. And it's a
Yeah.
very interesting experiment, which I work on very, very often with my clients.
Yeah, I do as well. And I love this exercise. I get my youth athletes I go, okay, shrink into the smallest position that you can with your body. Like get its crunch. And so they're like on the Zoom camera. I'm like, don't worry, I don't need to see you. Just tell me when you're in the small. And so they're away from the camera and they're like,
Mhm.
okay, right? I'm like, okay, then not out loud, but in your head, tell yourself that you suck. And I was like, and don't tell your parents, I'm telling you to tell yourself that you suck.
Mhm.
And then they do. And then I'm like, okay, now stand up and get as big as you can. Take up as much space as you can and say the same thing. And they do. And then they sit down and I'm like, which one did you believe more? Well, when I was smaller. Okay, so your body position made you believe something more. Isn't that crazy? And they're all like, oh my gosh. Because it's so
It's
true.
absolutely brilliant, and I'm going to borrow that from you.
Do it.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it. And it is so true that you can see when the shoulders are out, when the
Mhm.
chest is up, the head is high, you can
Yeah.
see somebody with confidence.
Yeah.
And then you see the person who is, the head's kind of tucked into the shoulders.
Yeah.
And and there's also, you can have false confidence too, where you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the real confidence just comes from if you focus on the task, you believe you can execute it, and you go into it with intention and don't worry about anything else,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
that's all you can do is just focus exactly on the task at hand. And that's going to help you get confidence, which would also part of our mindset development, that you can
Yes.
intentionally get situations. What if you make a bad play? What if you give up a goal? You come to the bench. What do? Your shoulders are hunched. You come, you sit down. You're trying to hide from the coach. You don't want to look at your teammates. You're in that small position like you just described. And what
Yes.
are you telling yourself? You're an idiot. I can't believe you did that. What a huge mistake. And that's where you have to reset, which is what I teach my class. We have a reset tool, which we have a general reset tool, and then we customize it for them. And the reset tool is how do you go from that and reset within a minute and a half before your next shift. And there's a methodology that we go through, which also includes the self-talk, the positive self-talk, and activating that part of you where you just look forward instead of looking back. You allow yourself time to process. I'm not going to give away the whole tool.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
allow yourself time to process it, and then you apply the tool, and then you're ready for what's next, not the victim. So you shift from victim
Yes.
to what's next, that
Yeah.
mindset.
I love that. So if you want that tool, everybody, click the links below and get this guy as your coach. Um, okay, and so let's circle back to self-discipline. What does that, how does somebody move from, wanting to be good at a sport, but being a little bit maybe of a stagnant person to being somebody who is self-disciplined and can get up and do the thing and do all the practices and do the nutrition and sleep and like all that kind of stuff. How do we move ourselves from one to the other as like quickly, sustainably, realistically as possible? And why is it so important?
Great question. The first question that comes to my mind is how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Look, I would have loved to have coached in the NHL, and I did everything I could in my career to get an opportunity,
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, the opportunity never came. That's different. But had the opportunity come, I would have been ready to, be a video coach or to step into a minor role with an NHL team.
Yeah.
And because I had done the fundamentals. If I'm hoping to get somewhere, the discipline's not going to come from it. And I wasn't disciplined all the time. I had times where I got sucked into the negativity. I got sucked into the players complaining, and I'm an assistant coach. There's a great story actually. I was in Switzerland. It was my second year there, and I had a great Swiss coach, and he was really, I love Bruno. He's crazy, and I love it, like good crazy. And he brought me to back a second time, and we were skating around. It was like the dark days, the dog days of January. It's dark outside. I mean, I'm in the Swiss Alps. Come on, like let's give our head a shake here. But it was dark and we were on a losing streak and the players were complaining, and I kind of got sucked into that as like a young assistant. This is way back 100 years ago when I was still my second year of pro. And he skated by me. He saw me. We went on the ice. We were skating around. He skated by me and he said, "Hey, what's up with you?" And he skated past me and then kind of came around again. And he said, "Hey, what's up?" I said, "Well, like it's dark and the players and I'm this." And I started grumbling.
Hmm.
And he looked at me and one eyebrow shot up and he skated away. And now Bruno is a guy, he really was good at learning and understanding people, that everybody has different buttons to push.
Hmm.
And he had brought me back after 1 year. I had to go away and then I came back. He skated by me a second time. He looked me right in the eye and he said, "Maybe I picked the wrong coach." Well, that was the best thing you could ever say to me. Because from that day forward, I never allowed myself to get sucked into that again.
Right?
Because my attitude that day on the ice, and he saw it and he called me on it, and it was brilliant. And I'm grateful to this day, Bruno. Even though I didn't like the medicine when it was served to me on the ice, but it was a wake-up call. Hey,
Yeah.
there's other guys out there that can take your job.
Yeah.
And I know he wasn't saying that I was the wrong guy. He was saying, "I believe in you. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
But where you're going right now with your attitude is not where we're going."
Right.
And so now when we go back to self-discipline, how bad do you want it? Are your practice habits, are your workouts, is your intention, is your discipline, your self-discipline aligned with where you want to go? And everybody wants to play it. Everybody wants the money. Everybody wants the fame. Okay. Like most. Okay. But not everybody will get the chance.
Yeah.
And not everybody, even the talented ones, don't get there. So what do
Mhm.
you have to have? You have to have something more than just talent. And when you wrap all of this up with the mindset, the habits, the discipline, all of this stuff, it comes down to consistency. And
Ooh.
that's really what I come to with my clients. It's all about applying everything consistently because we're
Mhm.
going to have ups and downs in our lives. We're going to have ups and downs in our sports. And if you can maintain a positive attitude, it doesn't mean you're happy, it doesn't mean it's fake. A
Yeah.
positive attitude in the sense of, I want something more than where I'm at right now,
Hmm.
and I'm going to have to do more in order to achieve that. Because where I'm at right now isn't you can be happy, you can enjoy it,
Yeah.
but I want more, so I'm going to have to up my level of my process to make sure that I get there. And that means doing the right things, eating the right things, saying no to certain situations,
Yeah.
maybe giving up a bit of your social life in season as a young player, especially. It's
Yeah.
hard. um, Keeping up your academics, keeping up all of the things that lead you to have that discipline. And Brian Kane has some athletes that have every minute of their day mapped out, every single minute of their day. Now, that's not me, okay? Never will be. But what I do is I make sure that when I'm in a good place and I'm moving somewhere, I want to have that intention. I want to
Mhm.
have that purpose-driven, focused consistency. And that's what will get me there.
Yeah. Ooh, that was so good. There was so much gold in that. It's not even not even funny. I love that it came down to consistency. And it's so interesting because uh before we started recording, I told you that I went to a basketball game last night.
Mhm.
And so Canadian pro basketball, and I'm there, floor seats, watching it up close. And being a performance mindset coach, there were so many times where I was just like, oh my God, like it just like it's all about the mindset or breathing or be consistent. There was one player last night. I'll give him a shout out. I'm hoping to get him on the friggin' podcast, Mitchell Creek. And he the entire game, he was consistent. He wasn't like the most amazing all-star. He wasn't the most like but he was consistently there. He was consistently doing his job, and then he was consistently checking in on his teammates to make sure his teammates were okay, and also checking in on the like his check. Like if there was like elbows being thrown and whatever, as soon as the whistle would blow, he'd tap his check on the shoulder and be like, "You good?" Right? Like, and that consistency to me, out of all of the players last night, that stood out so much because he was just like even keel. And that as an athlete is something that is so important because it ends up grounding yourself, but it also ends up grounding your whole team too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you think not every player in the NHL is a goal scorer, okay? Not every
Yeah.
player at the top is the highest performer. If you get into ski racing, if you get into race car driving, it's not necessarily the fastest lap. It's the person who drives the most consistently. And my
Yeah.
race car driver clients that I have, they are all about consistency because their performance depends on consistency.
Right.
So we practice intentional to be consistent.
Yeah.
And in sports like hockey, there are players in the highest of levels that aren't goal scorers. They play roles. They're
Yeah.
great defensively. They block shots. They kill penalties. And they've done it at a high level with the work ethic and the fitness and the diet and with that intention that they've made the NHL,
Hmm.
not as a star, but as a player that the coaches can rely on
Yeah.
to consistently execute their system, their tactics as a team. And you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Aren't they the best teammates? The
Yes.
ones you kind of always know where they are. You
Yeah.
always know that they're going to be there. You always know they're going to bring their best. Even when they have a bad day,
Yeah.
they don't take everybody down with them.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes they need a pick me up, but then they get back, they recover fast. They recover
Yes.
quick from the downs.
Yeah.
And those kind of players are coaches' dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So let's switch this conversation a little bit towards the parent side of coaching elite athletes because I have witnessed both from being the elite athlete and from being the coach and from being the parent that coaching or parenting elite athletes is a completely different game than parenting other kids. Or like let's maybe just say parenting high achieving youth in itself
Yes.
is
Yeah.
is is so different. And parents, we all have the best intentions and we all have things that kind of worked for us or didn't work for us and then we're trying to, so what is the best, do you think, way for parents to be supportive and stay in the parenting role for their high achieving youth?
Another great question, by the way. Um,
I'm full of those.
well, let's take a look at what's going on with the parent. Okay. The parent is the parents are sacrificing a lot of their time, their money,
Yeah,
their efforts, their free time, their social life. They're doing it for their kids. And they want their kids to have success. Okay. Ultimately, we all do as
yeah,
parents. We just want to have our kids have success. But are we doing it because we're sacrificing so much and we want to see a payoff? Because if that's why you want your kid to be a high performer, you're in the wrong business.
yeah. I
Okay?
agree. Yeah,
It- I hate to say this because I mean respect and love out to all the parents out there, and I'm a parent too,
yeah,
with high hopes, let's say, as always, parents do. But I'm gonna say something that might make some people mad. I don't know, but I'm okay being provocative.
hmm,
Parents, it's not about you. Okay, and then so their parents will go, yeah, yeah, it's not about me, it's about my kid. All right, if it's about your kid, then let's talk about that.
hmm.
How do we, here's your question, how do we create an environment
Yes.
for our child to have success? Is the number one thing I think of. I came up with three E's after our last conversation, okay? How can I create the environment for my kid to succeed? And after that, I want to enable my kid to have success. Okay, so I'm going to create the environment,
Mm-hmm.
which is also, the home life, the meals, the discipline to make sure I'm going to create the environment. I get them to practice on time. I do all that. That's what I can do as a parent. I can control the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
But where does my environment stop and their start at the sports hall, right? Usually in the parking lot. All right. So let's get to the enable. Enabling the kid. Do we, as parents, take away their pain? Do we want them to have an easy path, but that's not how the top players get there. You can't have an easy path anywhere and have success. It only goes so far. It's not sustainable. So enable them to fight their own battles.
Mm-hmm.
Enable them when they're complaining about their ice time or their playing time. Ask them what their coach said when they went to their coach and asked about what they need to do to get a bigger role, or what can I do to get better?
Mm-hmm.
Because a coach, if you come to him about playing time, they don't want to hear it. As a coach, I didn't want to hear it because I
Mm-hmm.
could say, well, do you want to know why you don't have playing time? Because I trust other people because they're either better, which nobody wants to hear. They work harder. They're more consistent. They execute more. I can give 100 reasons to a player why they didn't get the playing time. Sometimes the coach can say, yeah, I had a bad game. I was matching lines, right? Sometimes that happens too.
Yep.
But how do we enable our kid to have that conversation and we step back? We stay on the sidelines and let them learn how to ask for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
That's the enable one. And that's going to create the big E, which is empowerment. It's going to empower the kid to be able to fight their own battles. When adversity comes, they don't run to mom and dad to fight it for them.
Mm-hmm.
They actually learn how to handle it. Or they go to their parents and say, hey, listen, I really had a bad game. I'm frustrated with my playing time. What can I do? And then the parents will say, well, what conversations do you need to have? So yeah, you can ask questions.
Yeah.
Why do you, and why is a little bit, but what's happening that you're not getting the playing time? How are you in practice? How's your weight training? How's your effort? Are you joking around? Are you feeling, and not to put pressure on them, just genuine curiosity to let the kid figure out maybe why they're not getting what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And as parents, that's what I said. Like, you can control the environment to the parking lot of the sports place, okay, or
Yeah.
the classroom for that matter, to the school. Enable them by allowing them to fight their own battles, and enable them to overcome the adversity, to figure out how to battle and to understand what that means, and
Mm-hmm.
empower them. And that will give them that compete level that a lot of kids don't have. Because
Yeah.
doing it for them is not serving them.
Yeah.
Fighting their battles, banging on the glass at a hockey game never does anything. Yelling at a referee doesn't do anything
Yeah.
except, So as parents, what can we do? Those are the three things I came up with from our previous conversation. Environment, enable, empowerment.
Those are so, so good. And another thing that I would like to bring up too is what is your definition of success? Like, as a parent, when it comes to your kid, what is your definition of success? Is success getting the medals or, maybe becoming that NHL player or Olympic athlete, or is success becoming the person who has agency in their life and who is empowered in their life and who has grit and who can show up for themselves and who, right? And so I think too, that is a really great question for us as parents to actually think about. And that's another question I actually ask my athletes too, because that's something that we aren't asking youth. What is your definition of success? And it's
Well, that and
interesting.
that's when you said we should ask the parents what is success for them. And
Hmm.
immediately I said, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not
Yeah,
about
no, right? But that puts it into
parents.
perspective sometimes.
Ask your kid
Yes.
what is success. And success can grow, it can change, the
Yes.
goal can change, maybe you're not as good, but you still want to play, you can go to a different path. It's just, it's navigating.
Yeah.
But success for the child, it doesn't always align with what the vision of success is for the parent.
Yeah.
And here's a question for the parents. Can we as parents be okay if our child's vision of success doesn't align with our vision of success? There's a great question for the
That's a
parents.
very good
Can
question.
we be okay with that? Because we're sacrificing so much and we're paying so much and we're driving at 6 o'clock in the morning to the rink. We're going on long trips. We're investing all of our time and effort into our kids' success, and they're
Hmm.
just happy to be with their friends,
Hmm.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they want to go. Maybe you do have an aligned goal of you want to go as far as you can in the game. Phrase it like that. I want to go as far as I can in this game. Well, now
Hmm.
you're not setting an expectation of the NHL is the goal. If you
Yeah.
don't reach it, you're a failure.
Yeah.
Really? Really? You're a failure? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
So that's why I really resonate. I love it what you said. Ask the athlete, what does success look for like for them?
Yeah.
And the other question I have for them is, if everything worked out and all of your dreams came true and you worked hard and you put in the effort and you developed your mindset and you worked fantastic, you got result and you made it. When I say you made it, where do you see yourself? And
Oh, that's
tell
good.
me what that person looks like. Tell me what that person is seeing. What do you see? What do you see in their face? Describe what they're wearing. Describe what they're playing, and get them to dream big. But that's kind of like that's get them to dream. We're
Yeah.
so worried about the next step that we have to be on this team or that team and had this has to be our next step. There's
Yeah.
players in the NHL that didn't put on skates till they were 14 years old. Why did it work for them? There's players where parents invested $500,000 into their kids and they didn't even make the ECHL
Hmm.
in hockey.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah.
So let's make sure that we're aligning to our kids' vision and that not that they're aligning to our vision.
Yes.
Be my
Yeah.
word of caution to the parents.
I agree 100%. And it's just about, I think as a parent, like just being curious too, like being curious about what your athlete is, what are they experiencing? What are their goals? What are they struggling with? What is something that they love? What is something that and I think too, this is an important piece for parents as well, is to do a check-in with your athlete and say, what how am I as a parent showing up for you in your sport? And how can I do something differently? How can I improve? Because I bet you anything, they are nervous to just bring that up to you, but they have an answer to it if you ask them. And like we can't read minds. Like communication is key in every single relationship. And I mean, I don't know about you, but me as a parent, am I doing a good job? Like and I'm not going to know unless I ask her. Assumptions kill everything, right? And so to be able to, that's a part of that empowering thing too, right? Is like empowering them to give you feedback because, you know, I don't know about all of you. Maybe some of you have multiple elite athlete kids, but for me, it's my first time parenting one. And so as a parent, it's my first time. I need to have feedback. And communication is never a bad thing. So be curious enough and brave enough to ask the question and then hear the answer.
I think that's beautiful. I really do. I think it's actually when I coach teams, like a racing team, for example, one of the things we talk about is communication of asking each other for feedback.
Hmm.
Um, when I work with business teams in the executive sphere, let's get feedback from the people we're serving.
Yeah.
And so now let's bring it back to where you said, and it was so wonderful. And I love that you said it because it is critical. But
Yeah.
as a parent, how do I say, like, how am I showing up for you?
Yeah.
And I've coached some parents with their kids in the room, and I said, all right, let's have a talk,
Yeah.
but nobody's allowed to say the word you. Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, is let's not give direct feedback. Let's ask questions and see what the other person says. How do you ask an 8-year-old, how am I showing up for you? Well,
Mm,
you just ask them.
yeah.
What do you like most about when I come to your games? What do you like least
Hmm.
about when I come to your games? And you may hear when you yell at the refs,
Yeah.
when you bring popsicles, maybe, or when I get to drink a sport drink as the little kids, that's all they care about. The orange, we used to have the orange slices, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So asking that question, but be ready for the answer
Hmm.
and my advice is don't answer back.
Yeah. Just
Don't
listen.
defend yourself. Thank the person,
Yeah.
take the feedback, reflect on it, and
Mhm.
revisit it 48 hours later because you
Yeah.
need that time to digest.
Yes.
As a parent, when your kid says, I don't like when you do this,
It sucks.
it's really hard because your kid is holding a mirror up to you,
Yeah.
but they're doing it. Another one that I've learned, another tip, you had mentioned that maybe some kids would be nervous or uncomfortable.
Hmm.
If there's something you want to tell me, but you don't want to tell me to my face, I want you to write it down on this piece of paper,
Hmm.
okay? And slide it under my door tonight, slide it under my bedroom door tonight,
Hmm.
and I won't react on it. I promise you, I won't react on it.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a way, and you have
Yeah.
to stay true to it, like to
Yeah.
get feedback from maybe is there anything you're not telling? If there is something you haven't told me or forgotten or want to tell me, put it on a piece of paper, slide it under my bedroom door.
Yeah.
And maybe nothing comes, but maybe you get something that comes that's really hard for the kid to say.
Hmm.
And you're going to have to look in the mirror and be okay with it. And you're going to
Yeah.
have to look in the mirror and say, how do I have to show up better for my kid? Because
Mhm.
again, it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is so good. So, all of you parents who are listening to this, Alex and I are going to put on a mastermind for you because, like we said, parenting high achieving youth is a completely different thing. And we have some tools and tricks and techniques that we would love to share with you that's going to help you build that environment, that's going to help you enable those youth and help you empower those youth in order to get their definition of success. And so if you are interested in that, comment below. You can send the forgedyouthpodcast@gmail.com an email, and we'll definitely have links to the podcast or to the mastermind as well for you on social media. Now, Alex, is the hour is flipping by like crazy. Is there anything that we haven't talked about today that like one more thing? What are we missing here before we end the podcast?
Well, I think we've touched on pretty much everything. The one thing I want to say with all of what we've just said to the parents, I validate, we validate your experience, okay?
Yes.
We validate the sacrifice that you're making. We validate your time, your effort, your energy, your sleepless nights, your worry, your anxiety, your fear. We validate all of those things. And
Mhm.
so we're not anti-parent, we're not labeling anybody with anything.
Yeah.
We're just trying to create a different way of thinking,
Yes.
a different way, a different mindset on how we can be more effective as parents
Yeah.
with our children in every environment, but especially the demands and the stress of having high performing children, be it
Yeah.
in academic, music, athletics, culture, whatever.
Yeah.
It can be hard, and there's support for you too. So it's just a matter of rethinking, reframing, and maybe a little bit of recalibrating our expectations
Yeah.
and looking at it from a different perspective. Because if we can figure out what's going on with us as parents,
Hmm.
and we can figure out what the other person needs from us, we're going to have the best chance for success in providing that environment and enabling them and empowering them. And so that's my message to the parents. We're with you. We live, hey, we live it. I have two kids, although one's fresh, a couple weeks old. So I haven't really got into the high performance sport yet with that one. Um, but it's parenting's hard.
Yeah.
And the only thing we can do is make it easier by ourselves, by enabling ourselves
Yeah.
by, learning new things, learning new perspectives, learning new tools. And if you're coming to the mastermind, we can't wait to meet you, hear your stories, and it'll be a great opportunity for everybody to grow.
Yeah. So there you go, everybody. This was my episode on Forged Youth with Alex. And Alex, I just want to take a second to acknowledge you and thank you for putting in the work you have on you as an individual, you as a coach, you as a dad, and just for coming on here and sharing your wisdom. And I know that we're all going to look forward to that parent mastermind, and we're definitely having you on the podcast again. So
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you. Thank
today.
you for having me here and for if anybody took something away from this positive, then the podcast was worthwhile. So thank you for
100%.
creating this also for your listeners. It's fantastic.
I love it. Okay, everybody, see you on the flip side.